In this video, your Dungeon Master Dreadmoor gives you ratings for every second level spell for the wizard in the Solasta 2 early access video game.
Alright, let's break down second level wizard spells and how they rate for a wizard. First up on the list, we're going to be rating these from S tier to E tier. Acid Arrow is our first spell. It's a range of 90 feet. And it targets one enemy. Deals 4/4 acid on initial damage and 2/4 on the acid delay. At the end of the target's next turn. Half is initial damage on a miss. So all in all, you're going to do some type of damage to the creature. You can also upcast this for second level, but that's obviously not available for the early access. But if I had to rate Acid Arrow, I would give Acid Arrow a B tier. It is nice that if you have the Ruin feature you took with the wizard, you'll add an extra die, 1 damage for each dice you roll, which makes this spell even more potent. But for me, I've used this many times, and I find other spells to be way more potent than Acid Arrow. And I believe also that this Acid Arrow is a little bit broken in this game. There's sometimes where the acid for the delayed takes effect, and sometimes it doesn't. So until they fix that, or I see anything different going on, I'm going to give Acid Arrow a B tier on the rating. Next up for the wizard will be Life Drain. This is actually good for me considering I have a fighter wizard, so I'm in the front lines with armor and magical abilities. This is a range of 120 feet. If you hit a target, it has 2 necrotic damage and grants them the same amount of temporary hit points. For the build I have, the fighter wizard, this is an S tier. The reason why it's an S tier for a fighter wizard is, like I said, I'm in the front lines, and why not have 2 possible temporary hit points for the fighter wizard in the front. So depending on what your build is, it could be an A tier if you're a wizard that stands in the background. But for a fighter wizard, this is an S tier. Following that will be Blindness. I've talked about this spell at length over multiple choices for Cleric and the Sorcerer. And it's strictly just a C tier for me. The distance is nice, but the fact that they get to take Constitution saves and then repeat the save each round after they possibly make it or fail it, after they fail it, then you're basically looking at maybe a spell that takes effect for maybe 1-2 rounds. And like I said, the Constitution is usually a high modifier for most enemies you fight. You can add 1 more target to this if you spell cast for second level, but again, that's not available in early access. And also, you have about a 40 to 50% chance to succeed on most creatures, so it's okay. Well, Blindness for me for this wizard is a C tier. Magic Weapon, I'm also going to give a C tier to this as well. The reason why is they give you a lot of magic items in this game. I probably have about 6 or 7 +1 magic items, or magic weapons right now, and I don't see where you would really need this. I brought this up in the past in some other videos. The only way I would see this just even be effective in the early access is the fact that they don't give you a +1 longsword, and the longsword is probably the best weapon in the game considering it offers sap. If you're not familiar with what sap does, sap gives a disadvantage on the creature you hit, gives on their next attack, so it's a beautiful added bonus. But this is a 1-hour duration, and it has a bonus action effect to it. So, and you can also upcast this, but again, these upcasts of +2 between 3rd and 5th level, and +3 at anything above 6th level is just not active right now in the early access. So for me, I'm going to give Magic Weapon a D tier right now. I don't see why you would need it at this point. Not sure if you would need it even the whole game, but I'm not sure what type of weapons they're going to be giving out during the full access to this. But this is a D tier for me. For my wizard fighter build, Blur is an S tier all day. I'm in the front lines, and enemies are going to have a disadvantage on attack rolls against me. Obviously, if they have Blind Sight or True Sight, this spell basically is useless. But for most creatures, this spell is going to be exactly what you want for, especially my type of build. I have a fighter wizard going on, so this is an S tier for me. It is a concentration, and there's a feat you can take where you can get advantages on your concentration checks, and that's probably what I'll do when I get a feat with this character. I'll be taking that feat, so that way I can maintain this blur effect in the front lines. So an S tier for blur, especially for the fighter wizard. If you just have a straight wizard, I still think it's an S tier because you can give it to your fighters. But this is a must-have spell. Rave Enfeeblement. I've had this spell shot at me many times by evil wizards. Even for me to have the spell to cast it on someone, it's just a one enemy, and it's a concentration. So to give you the effects real quick before I give you the tier, it gives you disadvantage on strength-based checks, and it subtracts 1 day from the target's damage rolls, which can be very beneficial. But again, this is the concentration, and the downfall of this is the Constitution save. So the target only has a disadvantage on their next attack roll until your turn. So the target repeats the Constitution save each of its turns. Again, Constitution in most creatures or enemies is going to be high. So this is a C tier. It's an okay spell. It has really good upside to it, but I haven't seen much really use for it in the early access. But again, the Constitution save makes this a C tier for me. Dark Vision. If you have the cantrip Light, I don't even really see why you would need this Dark Vision that much. I have all humans, and I can easily cast Light inside of caves and stuff like that. And it lasts for the light spell lasts for a long time. So unless you're just really hurting for Dark Vision, I don't see why you would. And most people are probably making other things as far as races go besides humans. I like strictly humans, but if you're making such the elf or other creatures or other races like that, you're basically this is a no use for you as far as spell choices. So as far as Dark Vision goes, it is a D tier for me. I don't see why you really need it, but again, that just depends on your build. And that's why I didn't give it an E tier, because your build may require you to have something like this. Next up would be Scorching Ray. This right here is I'm going to give it an A tier just because it's an attack, and you're not always going to hit with the rays, but the fact that it's a 120 feet, and for me, I'm a frontline guy, so I probably won't pick this right off the bat. I have a sorcerer that carries this, so again, this depends on your build. But for me, Scorching Ray is an A tier. It's a really good spell. I have really nothing negative to say about it, other than the fact that you have to hit with 3 attacks. You can add an extra ray for a spell slot over 2nd level, but that won't take effect until the full game comes out. And I do like that you can choose different choices. If you've got a couple creatures that are low on hit points, you can bounce this around like you do with Magic Missile. So all in all, this is an A tier for Scorching Ray. Enhanced Ability. This grants the target an advantage on ability checks with selected abilities. It's 1 ally and it's concentration, so it lasts for 1 hour. So basically you're concentrating for 1 hour, which basically takes you out of doing any more concentration spells. For me, that's garbage, because I have a wizard fighter who's going to be using blur a lot, so this is not going to come into effect for me. So I'm going to give Enhanced Ability a D tier. D is in Delta. But again, your build may require you to have this, or you may want this. So no knocking on anybody who wants this, but it's a D tier for me. See Invisibility is a touch on 1 ally. It allows you to see creatures or objects that have the invisibility condition as if they were invisible. I haven't seen any uses for this yet. I mean, somebody may have found maybe an item or something that was invisible that I have not seen yet, but I haven't seen any uses for this in the early access. Now, when the full game comes out, I bet that my tier rating for this will change, because I love See Invisibility, especially at when I play tabletops in real life. I always take See Invisibility. It's basically your get out of jail free card for other wizards and stuff that want to turn invisible. So, but in the early access right now, if I would have to rate this, I would rate it at E tier. It's just not used, and I don't see why you would choose it over the other options that you have available to you. Second to the last would be Hold Person. It's a distance 60 feet. It also is a concentration check, so again, I'm not going to be interested in this because of blur. But the target is paralyzed with a negated wisdom save, which is beneficial because most creatures you fight in here don't have a good wisdom save. The only downfall is they're going to repeat the save at the end of each of their turns. It's a 1 minute duration, and you can add 1 more target for choices over second level. So if you choose to cast as a third level spell, you're going to be able to take 2 enemies out with this, which I think would make it more beneficial when the game comes on. But again, that's just for early access right now. I'm going to give Whole Person a C tier rating. And finally, Shatter. Shatter is a 10-foot radius with distance 60 feet, deals 3 to 8 thunder damage, half for Constitution saves, and Con strengths have disadvantage on the save. It is actually an upcast of 1 to 8 per spell slot over second level. So this is a great spell. I've used it many times. It could fluctuate between A and B, but if I'm going to rate this right now as a early access, I think it's a B tier. It's something you would probably want to take on your second choices for second level spells. So for me, like right now, I'm going to be choosing Blur because I'm a wizard fighter, and then again, life drain for me for a wizard fighter. Get those temporary hit points and be able to sustain the front lines for longer. So what I'll probably take next would probably be definitely Shatter, and most likely Scorching Ray will be probably my next choices for second level spells. Well, I hope you enjoyed this wizard tier breakdown of second level spells. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you at my next video breakdown.
Thanks for joining me for the Wizard's second level spell tier ratings.